So now we come to a little bit of fun. Rather than just reading out one line, writing out one line, we are going to basically read in a poem and write it out to another file. So here's the poem here, Horace. For you people that remember me from Python, I'm pretty sure I made you do something similar in Python as well, where we actually did a textual analysis on this actual poem. It's a Monty Python thing. Feel free to Google it, Horace Monty Python. You'll get what you need. There's even one guy that actually took the trouble to actually recite the poem. It doesn't really matter. This could be a list of names, whatever. We're just going to basically read in all this text and write it out. We're going to actually read it in, store it, and then write it out in a classic input output or input processing output pattern. All right. So here's our file, Horace. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project. Again, nice little bit of review here. I'm going to call it Horace. All right. Where's it going to go? Okay. I like it there. That sounds good. I'm going to go next, and I'm going to go next. And so now I got myself, again, a pretty empty hello world program. Let's bump you up a little bit. All right. So similar to last time, I need to basically start setting some stuff up. So I'm going to basically set up a string, which is going to be the dir, and it's going to be assigned something. I'm going to set up a file, a string, a file name, which is going to be something, and I'm going to do the path, string again, path, which is going to be the dir plus the file name. Fairly common thing to do, by the way, when you just, I got to go out and figure this stuff out again. So, but rather than, I just lost my directory. I guess what I'm trying to say is I like putting little stubs in. These two are like stubs here, and I know I got to come back in and put them in. So this is going to here. And again, if I just do this, it's going to freak out. I need to put that little ampersand in front, which basically says, I want just those characters. It removes any power from the slash. And then the file itself is called Horace. And I can tell it's a .txt file from the prompt, but I can also tell from looking at the properties, or if I was really cool, I'd open up the DOS or some kind of console if this was Linux, and look at it there. But anyway, there it is, Horace.txt. Great, wonderful. I tell you what, rather than hello world, let's just get this thing to print out the path so I can see what it actually created. And that'll also make the program happier because now path is being used. All right, so I'm going to go. There is a mistake. I need to have a slash at the end of the path, at the end of the directory, which I should have done. All right, good deal. Well, it's not a slash, that's a thing. All right, good deal. So now I got myself my target set up. I now want to basically read and I want to write. All right, so I want to read and I want to write. So let's go to over here and let's say that we want, I'm going to create a string called a poem line. Yeah, a poem line, and that string is going to be nothing. Excuse me. Yeah, there's my string. And so what I want to do is I want to read into that. So I'm going to go use Stream Reader, and Stream Reader, of course, it has no idea what I'm talking about because I don't have the library installed up here. So let's go using system.io. All right. So Stream Reader. Okay, so at least it knows what it is. And that is a class. I'd like to create an object called text in, like I did in the previous programs. What is that? Well, it's going to be what comes out of the Stream Reader constructor, which is going to take the new file stream constructor. And it's going to take basically the path. It's going to take the file mode open. And I'm going to be reading this one. So it's going to be the file access of read. All right, so that's awesome. So now I've got a little pointer basically pointing to this actual file. Now all I got to do is read it. So in fact, when I take that streamline thing up here, poem line, I should say, and say that you're not nothing. You're not nothing. You're going to be the text in dot read line. All right. When you're coding yourself, by the way, feel free just to look at what's going on. It's interesting to me how this IDE is completely reacting to everything I'm doing. So anyway, so there's string, this guy, and now the poem line isn't being used anywhere. So let's just go ahead and go and put poem line in the console right line, just so we can see it happen. We're going to go, and right there, much to his mom and dad's dismay, shows up on the screen, which is the first line of the poem. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and do a write. So to do a write, I'm probably going to want, I can't really read and write from the same file. So I think I'm going to start changing my mind now. I'm going to say that the I file name is going to be Horace. Now, file name is used in only one other spot, but this is kind of a neat trick. I decided I want to name this. I'm going to right click on this dude, rename. It's going to say, do you want to rename it in all these different spots? Which currently is only 2. I'm going to say, yes, I do. We're going to hit the I in front, except apparently put the I in the middle. I'm going to put the I in front. So now it's I file name, and I can go apply, and I can be relatively sure that my renaming didn't screw up my system. And it did. So I'm very happy about that. So now I'm going to have an O file name for the output file, which I really just want to appear right next to it. So this is going to be O. It's mad at me now because I've already got something called file name, my file name. I'm going to call Horace out. And so I got myself ready to go for the next big moment where we're going to print. Oh, by the way, remember how Grant feels about this. We want to always close when we're finished with the file. All right. All right. So we're going to close with the file. This, I'm going to quickly pull this in a little bit and reinforce the fact that this is the input. All right. We're going to reinforce the fact that there's going to be processing here, which I don't really have any at this point. And then, yeah, I tell you what, we'll put that in the processing. And then I'm going to have an output section. Here's where I'm going to actually write the thing out. So remember, it's almost identical. It's almost identical here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to certainly grab this line because I don't feel like retyping all that. And I'm going to go and put that there, except this is going to be a variable, which I'm going to call text out, or close enough to it. Can't see what that is. Text out. Okay. Oh, geez Louise. It's like 12 times to get 3 characters. So it's not stream reader, it's stream writer. But stream writer is, oh, sorry. Stream reader is there too. So stream writer. So a stream writer class is going to create, going to create an object called text out, which is the stream writer class. It's going to be constructed using the below thing here. Now, file mode is, let's have a quick peek at the file mode. It's not going to be open. That is not what we're going to be doing because in theory, we're writing. We could do open or create, but we're going to just go choose create. Create will overwrite the file if it's already there versus I think create and open, which I think appends to it. All right, and then the access is certainly not going to be read. What are our choices? We got write. We have write. Write is a choice. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cheat a little bit ahead of time here. I'm going to go right line. Right? Isn't the right line one? No? Oh, wait, no. File access is right. I'm coming up to what I'm thinking about. So anyway, so there's that. That's awesome. So now I basically want to write a file or write that line. And that is going to be a lot like this. So watch this. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say text out, hit the button. And I said test out. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go text out and hit the dot. And there's a write line, just like the console. And if I go write line, poem line, which I notice I haven't populated yet, that'll write poem line out to the file. But not to be confused, because I just confused myself, this is just a pointer. It's not actually currently. Yeah, no, that's right. That'll work. That's perfect. That's right. So this part of the code here in the input takes poem line and reads in a line from text in. Text in is reading it from Horace, right? This guy is going to create a pointer called text out, which is going to create and then write to a file called Horace out. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Remember the path? I need to have another path variable. All right. Talk yourself through these programs, because otherwise you will be a doofus like me. That's going to be assigned dir plus, and it's going to be O file name. All right, good deal. So let's see O path. So let's go. I tell you, boy. Okay, this path is only used once, right? So I'm going to base. You know what? I'm going to do this manually. I'm going to go iPath, O path. All right, so now I'm relatively confident I'm not going to blow up my my file. So I got an input and an output. I'm going to run it. Okay, everything looks great. If I go out to the directory and I will look, there's Horace out. It doesn't have anything in it, because guess what I forgot to do? Did not close. So let's make sure we close when we're done. Text out dot close. All right, I think now we're going to be good, right? Text out, yeah, okay, good. Shut myself down, because that's just the kind of thing I'm going to do all the time. Horace out. Horace out's got information in it. We have a look, and there's got the actual first line. All right, so that is kind of a quick review of what we did with the input and the output. Now what we got to do is we got to go and start looping through this. We got to start looping through this to pull it all in, and then looping to pull it all to pour it all out. So we need to have a list. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a list. And I can't remember the chapter for this, probably would have been chapter 8. All right, so I'm going to go list. And the syntax for list is basically, I would like to have a list of a particular object. In this case, I like to have a list of strings. All right. And the list, I'm going to call this list. So the first thing is the definition. Now I'm going to actually create something called poem. And what is it? Well, it's a new list of strings. That's like a constructor again. Okay, you can tell it's a constructor because of the brackets. Now, brackets, excuse me, parentheses. Here's the deal. You're thinking, Grant, wait a minute, there's still a lot of red squiggly lines. Well, there's a lot of red squiggly lines because we currently, we're not smart enough to know what library this is. Apparently, the default system and the IO system doesn't know what a list is. There's actually another library out there called system dot collections dot generic. As soon as I hit the colon on that, notice that list is just fine. He's just fine. The only thing he's mad at now is that poem's not being used. All right, so basically this guy has got it. And so now if I got to go one step further here, what I could do is at the moment I capture this string, I could basically go poem dot add the poem line. That'll basically pull in the guy into the poem line. So that's great. And then as far as printing it out goes, I don't want to get into that quite yet because I'm about to do a loop. Now this will only get basically one line, right? So it's now time to think about, okay, Grant, I guess we kind of do need a loop. And so here's how this will go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to move this line that creates the poem line. I'm going to move that creation up here and assign it to nothing. Okay, so that's basically null. Down here, we're going to just change this thing to being a poem line. Nothing, no radical stuff here. But what I need to do is I need to now have it loop through the poem until it hits the end. So the first read is going to get that line. Okay, this line, then the next read will get this line, and then at some point it's going to come down here and there won't be anything left. The book has a really neat way to get to the end of the line. It's using something called peak. And I had it Googled up on the side so that I could show you, but I lost that, so that's fine. But what we're going to do is going to go into a loop, and this is how this is going to sound. It's going to go while, oh, wait a minute. I know what's happening here. Excuse me. No, that's right. That's right. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Okay, good. While it's going to go text in peak, not read line, peak. Basically, go inside the file and tell me what the number is, effectively the row ID of that first line. So peak. So while this is not -1, -1 basically means there's nothing there. So while there's nothing there, while, sorry, there is something there, do this processing. I so appreciate that extra alignment. All right, so this guy is going to go ripping through, and it's going to read in every single line until it hits basically the end of line. Right? Yeah, that's what's going on there with the peak. I actually haven't seen anything like that until I started looking at the C# stuff. So that was pretty cool. Usually what happens is that there'll be a read at the bottom of your loop, and it'll hit like a brick wall, and then your while will at that point go, okay, you hit the brick wall, we're out. But this one's kind of like peeking in first to see, is there anything there? Is there anything there? Very, very cool, slightly different. All right, so then we get to this processing. What if I want to see the entire poem now, not just that one line? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use the for each for this, because we don't know, are there 5 rows, are there 10 rows, are there 15 rows? We don't know how many rows, but we can go basically a for each. And so a for each, I hit the tab twice, by the way, to get the IntelliSense here, or code snippet, excuse me. So for each, basically var item in collection, right? So we know our collection is going to be the poem. So we can put that in there. So our collection's in the poem. We need to know what is the variable type of each of these lines, and it's a string. And now we just basically call it whatever we want to call it. So I'm actually going to call it poem line. No, poem line. I'm just going to call it line. Poem line's up here. So for each line in the poem, do the following. And now I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing and stick it in. I'm going to say print, write the line to the console. Right? So for each string in the line, write the line to the console. All right, cool. So that's our processing. We're going to show it to the screen. And then down here for the stream writing, it's going to be pretty similar. So let me just copy this. Actually, no, I won't copy it because I want you to see it again being built. So line 40, which is a couple above where I am, that's going to open up the pointer to the file that it's going to write out to. We're going to go for each, hit my tab twice. What's the collection? The poem is the collection. What's the variable? Type is it? It's a string. And what's the item? It's whatever I want to call it. I'm going to call it line again. All right. And this time, I'm going to take this line, move it in. And what's going to happen here is that we're going to right line the line. All right. So that was more changing I'd want to do normally without testing it, but it's looking pretty good. Let's do the build first, like I keep telling you guys to do, but not doing myself. There's my build. Okay, it looks good. Now I'm going to run the thing. And the whole poem shows up on the screen, which is awesome. If I come down here and I open up Horace Out's pretty well the same size as Horace, which makes sense. And there's the whole poem. So it worked great. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I wanted to do with this? I don't think so. And they do have closes, right? Yeah, I got closes. All right, so take a moment to digest this, because this is kind of cool. It's got read and write. One other thing, though, thinking about it. Oh, here's where I might blow it. I'm not going to blow it yet. We're going to end this video. I'm probably going to squeeze in an extra one where I'm going to make a couple minor changes to this.